bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It is time now for our Moment of Faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, the healing power of prayer. After yesterday's tragic, targeted Catholic school shooting in Minnesota left 2 children dead, along with 14 other children and 3 elderly parishioners wounded, it is now a time for prayer. For that, we turn to Pastor Jonathan Shuttlesworth, the founder of Revival Today. Jonathan, want to get your reaction to all of this. You know, I'm someone who went to Catholic school for kindergarten through 8th grade. I remember, how excited I was, to be right back to school there with all of my classmates, going to Mass. I can't even wrap my mind around the evil, how horrific this incident was. Your reaction and what can we pray for in a moment like this?
Yeah, it's terrible. And what you can pray for is for the families, for God to be with them and comfort them. And to read what Jen Psaki wrote, that this isn't the time for prayer, and she's sick of people asking people to pray. It's a time for action. You can address government policy tomorrow, but people are hurting now, and it is a time for prayer because people need help in times like this that only God can provide.
Absolutely. I mean, the children whose lives were lost. I mean, evil targets the most innocent among us. Talk to us about this. So many people struggle in these moments with their faith. How could God let this happen? What do we need to pray for to be able to have some kind of clarity and to be able to, really help others in this situation and be someone who can be comforting, someone who can lift others' spirits during tragic moments like this?
I mean, when people are going through something like this, as a pastor, the best thing to do is give them a hug and pray with them that God will help them. They don't need you can't put a nice bow on it, why it happened, and make everybody feel better. But I will say this, God doesn't interfere with people's choices. And instead of getting angry at God, people need to remember there's a devil and there's people that have given their lives over to demon powers like this shooter did. And instead of being angry at God, people should focus their anger that there's an evil power in this world that God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to deal with. And that's the only answer to dealing with that problem.
Yeah, and we are seeing, we have the images on your screen right now of some of the writings and the drawings that this shooter, it very clearly seems like demonic powers that he was inspired by with all of this. It's so hard to talk about, hard to look at here, sir. You mentioned action. Now is the time for action to be able to try to address this, but it gets complicated. What do you think would be the best way to move forward and try to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again?
I'm not a politician, but it seems pretty easy to me. First of all, for all the Democrats that are whining about how something needs to be done, they had control of the Senate, House, and presidency in 2021 and 2022, and no meaningful steps were taken. So they should be quiet. And if you want to do something, there are plenty of people that are willing to volunteer and are well trained. If any place needs a security guard, it's every elementary school and middle school and high school. I don't think it's a difficult decision to put a trained guard. It would have stopped this.
I think that is probably something we're going to see much more frequently and much more commonly throughout this country. Security guards outside of schools, outside of churches, places of gathering for worship. But does it need to go farther than that? Is there something more that needs to be done?
From what I read, this guy had never popped up on any kind of criminal offense list. So unless you're going to take everybody's guns away, which isn't happening in this country, that a security guard would have stopped that shooting. If you go through how it went, if there was anybody on duty, it would have never happened. So no, I don't think it needs to go past that.
Yeah, Jonathan Shuttlesworth, definitely a time for prayer for all of the victims, all the people impacted by this tragedy in Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining us and for your time this morning.
Nice to be on with you again.
All right. Be sure to tune in to Revival Today this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on RAV. We'll be back with the second hour of American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick around.